I'm so glad you made time to see me. How's life?
All right, everybody, we are going to go ahead and get started with our briefing. A very good morning to all of you. My name is Candace Pagoda. I have the pleasure of welcoming you to UB Open Day. We thank you for joining us on this Saturday to learn some more about our program. The program that we have today, we have a special event in which our resident director, Dr. Kevin McKelvey, will give a briefing to introduce you to the University at Buffalo SIM program, after which we will hold a panel that looks at the economic factors that have been in play now that the pandemic is over and we have lots of entertainment options and opportunities coming back to Singapore. With that, I would like to start off with a bit of a survey. We always like to know who we are speaking to in the audience. So by a quick show of hands, I'm very curious, do we have any Coldplay fans in the house? Don't be scared. I won't ask you to sing. It's not going to turn into karaoke. Coldplay fans in the house. All right. What about Blackpink? Any Blackpink fans in the house? Also not. How about who else is coming? We have Sam Smith coming. I like Sam Smith. All right. I left her for last. Any Taylor Swift fans in the house? Should we change the topic? There's only a couple of Taylor Swift fans in the house. Awesome. So I like to ask this question just because we are, our focus of the panel today is on Swiftonomics and the impact that the Eras Tour has had on economics worldwide. We have a few perspectives. A few of our professors are going to speak on this topic. So with that, this is our agenda for today, our briefing by Dr. Kevin McKelvey. We will have a Q&A at the end of the briefing and the panel if you have any pending questions. At this point, I will ask for you to please put your phones away and put them on silent. We ask that you do not record this session. If you have very individualized or specific questions pertaining to your situation, we will ask that you email us at students@sim.edu.sg. Any general questions we will address at the end. And at this point, we'll also ask for you to be considerate to the listeners of the audience and keep side conversations to a minimum. So with that, I will pass over the mic to Dr. Kevin McKelvey, our resident director.
Thank you, Candace. I think I'll go up here and stand. I can get a better view from up here. So thank you for coming this morning and welcome to SIM. I am Dr. Kevin McKelvey, the resident director here at SIM. And as you can see from the slide, it says 2004 to present. That's not when I was born. That was actually when I came here to Singapore in 2004 when we launched our program. So I've been here ever since, and it's been a great delight for me to be able to deliver the University at Buffalo program here in sunny Singapore. I myself have one of my degrees from University at Buffalo, and so it's been my mission here in Singapore to make sure that when students join our program in Singapore, they will have every bit as wonderful of an experience when they join our undergraduate program that I myself had as a student at University of Buffalo many years ago. So with that, I will now talk a little bit about the different topics for today's program, starting with this one, the University at Buffalo and its reputation. So what is the University at Buffalo? We are a part of the State University of New York system, which is a very huge system of public higher education in the United States of America. If you're familiar with American geography at all and the state of New York, we are not in New York City. We're actually at the far end of the state of New York, located on the border with Canada, not far from beautiful Niagara Falls. That's where our campus is located. And so the SUNY system, State University of New York, is comprised of many different campuses across the entire state. And our university is one of 4 research universities within the system. We have Buffalo, we have Stony Brook, we have Binghamton, and we have Albany. But out of those 4 research universities, the biggest one in terms of enrollment, the size of the faculty, the research output and budget, and all of those features that you can measure we are the biggest. And so we are considered to be the flagship of the State University of New York system. If you are considering studying at an American university at all, you should take into account its accreditation. Accreditation is the review that takes place in the United States. It's a peer review process whereby other similar universities with similar missions, so in our case, a research university, will come and visit and audit all of the things about the curriculum and your policies and so on to make sure that you're doing everything up to standards within that scope, that type of university. So we are fully accredited by the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. They conduct a review, a comprehensive review once every 10 years. And we just completed ours just in February. We had a site visit from the Middle States Commission to look at our program here in Singapore. We are not accredited in Singapore separately from the home campus. So all of University of Buffalo's programs, no matter where they're located, are included within this review. And I am very proud of the fact that they refer to our branch campus here in sunny Singapore as exemplary in the way that we operate. And that is not by coincidence. We work very hard to make this a wonderful program here in Singapore. In addition, for our business administration program, that's accredited by AACSB, which is the highest level of accreditation that you can have for a program in business administration or management. And we're very proud of the fact that we are an elected member of the Association of American Universities, or AAU. This is not an organization which you can simply join. You have to be elected in by the existing members. And so it's a very prestigious group of the top research universities in the United States and Canada. And I'll show you a bit more about that in a moment. And I'm also very proud. One of the things I really enjoyed myself about being a student at the University at Buffalo was just how international it was. There are so many students who come from overseas to study at our university in Buffalo, New York. For me, it was like every day was going to school or to work at the United Nations with people from everywhere. So we are one of the top universities in the United States for hosting international students, which makes it for a very interesting cosmopolitan environment at our home campus. This is a map which shows the state of New York, and you can see each of those little dots on it is one of the campuses for the SUNY system. And ours, if you look out to the far western end of the state, you will see University of Buffalo there. But this will just give you a concept of how extensive this system of public education, higher education is throughout New York State. All of those different campuses. Four of them, as I mentioned, are research universities. There are also community colleges, which are similar to polytechnics and other universities that are specialized in various things and other types as well. So I'll just say a few words now. If most of our people in the audience are from Singapore or from somewhere else around this region, you're probably very familiar with the British system of education, and the American system has some pretty significant differences that I would like to point out to you. So I would say of all of the things that really distinguish our program and what makes us so special is the pedagogy. And it's described here, high quality interactive classroom experience. So what happens if you join University at Buffalo? When you are sitting in a University at Buffalo classroom, it's not simply just listening to a lecture. I think that's kind of like, the typical idea of what education consists of. In the British model would be more, you go, you listen to a lecture, outside of class, you read some books, and in the end, maybe you'll have one big final exam. This is not how we go about it, because we want our students to be very engaged actively in the process of education. And so there is a lot of participation involved. In fact, for most of the modules, the graded components include at least around 10% for participation in class. It varies from module to module. Some may be more, some may be less, but 10% is pretty typical. So for our students, it's incentive to come to class prepared, to be very engaged with the material for the day. and really just to be present and be engaged and actively involved in the process of learning rather than passively listening. So what we really believe is that people will learn best by doing rather than just by listening. So lots and lots of project work. Most of the modules involve some sort of presentations or projects of various kinds. The students will get lots of practice doing collaborative work and giving presentations in their class. We don't, I wouldn't say that memorization is never used for anything, but we are much more interested in whether a student can actually take the concepts and the principles that they learn in their classes and use them for some sort of application purpose, a novel kind of problem that needs to be solved. So the case study approach, for example, is very common in the business program, and similar types of approaches on different projects in other disciplines as well. And so if you think about it, for parents in the audience, if you have jobs, well, how often are you asked to memorize something? Or do you just go to work and spew out things that you have memorized? I don't know who does that. It's more likely that every single day you have some new problem that has never been seen before, and you have to figure out a way to solve it. So our curriculum is designed to help people actually practice that in class while they're going through their undergraduate education, so that they develop all kinds of useful skills, being able to think through problems, being able to also work with their classmates collaboratively. So that when they graduate, they are already very much well prepared to start working in the real world. Not that school is not the real world, but you see the point here. We try to make the classroom environment very authentic and related to the actual things that people are going to do once they start their careers, rather than something rather abstract. And another key feature of our education system is that we use a very extreme version of continuous assessment. So what that means is that in every given module, there isn't just one final exam. There are actually many different graded components. I've already mentioned participation being one of them, but there would be throughout the course of the semester also short quizzes. There could be a midterm exam. There could be different kinds of papers and presentations and projects as well. So normally, in most of the modules, if there is a final exam at all, it wouldn't be more than, say, 25 or 30% typically of the overall grade. And so it means that students have many different ways to demonstrate their learning. This is very advantageous for those students who suffer from exam anxiety, that they're able to demonstrate their learning in other formats as well. And lastly, the last point here, experiential learning. This is something we hear a lot about nowadays in Singapore. Many programs are adapting that kind of approach, but this is something we have been doing in the United States for over a century, starting with the philosopher of education, John Dewey, many years ago, who espoused this approach that we learn best by doing actively rather than just by passively going to school and listening. So I love the picture here of some students at our home campus building some kind of large fish on a experiential learning project of some sort. If you go to Buffalo, you can do this yourself too. What is our collaboration with SIM, you may wonder? How do we operate here? So we have been actually working together since 1996. We launched an EMBA program here. And in 2004, we launched our undergraduate programs. And as I mentioned, I have been here for the entire duration of our undergraduate program. We started with one major in business administration, and we now have 7 different majors and double majors, and they can be combined. We have minors as well. So a very rich selection, not nearly as rich as what we offer at the home campus because it's huge. We have 30,000 students there. We have about 1,400 students here in but what you will find is excellent quality classroom instruction with wonderful teachers. You'll get to meet some of them in a little while. Over half of the faculty that teach here in Singapore are people who come from Buffalo, New York, and they will teach the whole class from start to finish here in Singapore. And the other faculty members who teach in our program, who we hire locally, are approved by the relevant departments back in Buffalo and have similar types of qualifications to be appointed as adjuncts at the home campus as well. As far as quality assurance go, there's Ms. Candace, who you have met, and me. We stay here year round. We are stationed in Singapore to oversee this program. And of course, we take quality assurance very, very seriously. That's our main job here. And what you will get in the end, you'll get a University at Buffalo degree here at SIM, which is exactly the same degree you would get at the University of Buffalo. So you get the same credential, the same transcript, everything that you get from University at Buffalo is the same as what you would get at the home campus. The syllabi that we use are the same, the textbooks that we use are the same, and in the end, all the credentials are the same as well. One very nice feature as well, you can do the whole program here in Singapore. However, if you are keen, you can also go to Buffalo, New York and study at the home campus, which is a nice feature that we have. This is, I'll say more about that. That's called UB Bound. These are the things that we're offering right now. We have a lovely print brochure, so you can read about the details of all of these, but we offer 2 Bachelor of Science degrees and 5 Bachelor of Arts degrees. You can combine any 2 of the within one category. For example, 2 within the Bachelor of Arts would be considered a double major. And if you take 1 from Bachelor of Science and 1 from Bachelor of Arts, that's a double degree where you're getting 2 actual distinct degrees. Our courses are offered online, in person here. During the pandemic, we had to convert to online classes naturally because everyone did. That was mandated. But since the pandemic is now over, we are offering all of our classes in person once again. We have a new program that we have launched just recently, and it's called the UB Honors College. This is something that has existed at the home campus for many years, but we've just recently introduced it here in Singapore for the benefit of our students. And it's not the same as you may think in your mind, something like a British honors degree. An honors degree within the British system means that you do an additional year of study. That's not what this is. This is something completely different. This means that any student can join this, provided that they meet the admissions criteria. They have to have a very good GPA to get in, but if they do, they can then earn this special credential when they graduate that indicates that they are really, really good students who have gone above and beyond the minimum requirements for graduation. So all of the students have a set of requirements that they have to fulfill, but you can do more than that. So a nice way, typically students can do study abroad, they can do internships, they can do some sort of independent study or guided research. These are the ways that students can add on additional experiences in order to gain what are called honors credits, different from their regular credits for their academic coursework, but things that they do just really to build up their own resume, their credentials, and then they come out with this nice credential as well when they graduate. And UB Bound is our program whereby we send students, if they are keen to go, over to our home campus in Buffalo, New York. It's optional, but any student who is in good academic standing, meaning they have to have a grade point average of 2.0 or better, that's fairly easy to achieve, and they have to be able to receive a student visa from the United States government. So there are certain kinds of medical and financial documents that have to be submitted. But having done all that, the students are free to go over to Buffalo, New York. And just to be quite clear, if the students apply to our program here at SIM, they are already University of Buffalo students. They've been accepted to University of Buffalo. So going to UB Bound is really quite straightforward. There's not really, you don't have to apply for admission to University of Buffalo. You just have to get your student visa in order to go over once you have completed your admission to the major requirements here. So there's a set of foundation courses that you have to do in Singapore. Once you've done those, you can go over. And it's a great experience. It's really a wonderful experience for our students who go and get to spend some time at the home campus. A lot of our students go at the end of their program when they want, they can go and finish their last semester in Buffalo or the last 2 semesters. If they go for 2 semesters, there's an added advantage, which is shown at the bottom here, called OPT, or Optional Practical Training. What exactly is that? That means that after you graduate, you can extend your student visa for 1 year after graduation, and you can work or get an internship in the United States. So that's a real nice bonus for people who want to go to Buffalo, are willing to spend 1 academic year there, and then continue and stay on after graduation to do further work. We have a scholarship that we offer once in the spring semester and once in the fall semester, so two scholarships per year. It's a merit-based scholarship whereby we look for a student who is a good student academically, but also somebody who's a good representative of our program and can go to the United States and call attention to our wonderful branch campus here in sunny Singapore as a kind of a student ambassador. It does cost more to study at the US. We have a kind of a reduced tuition here in Singapore compared to what you pay in the US. It's quite expensive, but this scholarship does help to make it accessible for two well-deserving students each year. Now, this tells you about the course fees for our program here in Singapore, and we charge by the credit hour. So in a given semester, if you are enrolled in X number of credits, you would multiply that by the fee per credit hour and pay as you go. And the number of credits you take per semester can vary. Typically, a full course load would be 15 credits, but it could be anywhere from 12 to 18, something in that range as well. You need 120 credits to get a single degree and 150 for a double degree. It costs much less to do it here in Singapore than it does at the home campus. Higher education in the United States is really expensive these days. So it's an exceptional value here. Sorry, let me go back. Right, here we go. So out-of-state tuition for one semester, if you're doing it in Buffalo, New York, what does that say? About 35,000 Singapore dollars. But if you compare that to what you would pay in Singapore, just paying by the credits. Now, if you look at the amount that's shown for Singapore, compare that to the amount that's shown in Buffalo. The one in Buffalo includes all of the costs. That's an estimate for what it would be for a normal student living a sort of normal student lifestyle. If you live extravagantly, it could be much more. If you're really stingy, potentially it could be less. But if you compare that to Singapore, we are showing here the cost for course fees. So you also have to factor in living expenses, transportation. Are you going to drink Starbucks or are you going to drink kopi in the canteen? That can make a difference in how much you will pay overall during the time you're studying here. Just a few more details about that. Okay, we've shown that. Exceptional value. So people often wonder, are UB grads employable? And yes, absolutely they are. We conduct a survey 6 months after graduation, and we have found in the most recent one that over 80% of our graduates had been employed within 6 months. And they're employed in the public sector. People wonder about that. Can you get a job in, say, the civil service? Absolutely. Private sector, many go on to very reputable graduate programs. Some go to study at UB. We've had a number of our students get doctorates there. They go to universities in Australia, in the UK, and also to the national universities here in Singapore. And so what is it that makes our graduates so special? It's all of the things that I've been talking about related to the curriculum. It's not a coincidence that we have great graduates because they practice so much during their time with us as students on all of those different kinds of projects and experiential learning activities that produce really, really wonderful learning outcomes, including the ones here about critical thinking. They have very good public speaking and presentation skills. You'll get a chance to talk to some of our students at the posters in the back of the room later on. So that will be a good indicator to you if you take the time to talk to some of them. And we have an excellent community here. It's just such a nice program because our community of UB people in Singapore is very close-knit and very supportive. We also have the wonderful relationship with SIM that provides lots and lots of support services that wouldn't be easy or would be impossible for us to export from Buffalo. So we have counseling services. We have a dedicated career center that helps people find internships and prepare for applying for jobs after graduation and so on. And they get to join at the end of their program a very extensive global alumni network. So it's really good for networking. And we have lots and lots and lots of alumni here in Singapore. and a very, very active, the most active of all of the alumni associations of UB throughout the world. Our Singapore chapter is the most active and the biggest. This tells some information about applications. So we have 3 intakes per year, spring, summer, and fall. The next one coming up will be for fall 2024. The deadline for that is July 21st. Once that passes, we will immediately open the window for the next intake, which will be in spring 2025. And if you need more information, there's contact information shown there. And that's my presentation on the University of Buffalo, the State University of New York here at SIM. We have a panel discussion coming up. I should mention, by the way, one of the other really, really great features of our program is our wonderful faculty. And we have some of our faculty members sitting over here today. And we have 3 panelists who are going to be joining us and talking about the concept of Swiftonomics shortly. And why don't we just take a 3-minute break, and then we'll get started with our panel discussion. So thank you very much.